Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's podcast. I'm Roger Foisey, a personal injury lawyer at Foisey & Associates, and I'm joined here today by my colleagues, Harpreet Sidhu, Daniel Berman, Ratumi Tank, and Russell Aloshi. Understanding the benefits available to you if you've been determined to have a non-catastrophic injury versus a catastrophic one. This distinction significantly impacts the amount of support and resources available to you after an automobile accident, so it's essential to be well informed. We'll explore the differences in benefits, the implications for your long-term recovery, and why getting the correct injury classification matters. So let's dive right in. Harpreet, could you start us off by explaining to us what the difference between non-catastrophic injuries versus catastrophic injuries and the determination of benefits that flow from those designations?
Of course, the difference between catastrophic injuries and non-catastrophic injuries really lies in the severity and the long-term impact of the injuries. Catastrophic injuries tend to be more severe with life-altering impacts, whereas non-catastrophic injuries are expected to heal over a reasonable period of time. But when we're talking about catastrophic injury, we can't just focus on the more typical injuries that everybody might think of, things like a brain injury, a spinal cord injury, or an amputation. A person who, from a physical, cognitive, and psychological perspective, is significantly impeded from useful functioning can be deemed catastrophically impaired. At the same time, if a person has suffered injuries that together render them 55% whole person impaired, they can be determined to be catastrophically impaired as well. Either way, the difference really comes down to how the injuries will heal over time or not heal. All of these examples are injuries that are expected to require care and medical treatment for a prolonged period of time because they will have life-altering impacts on an individual. Non-catastrophic injuries could include things like fractures and even concussions, but they are expected to heal over a certain period of time, and so the access to benefits will be capped, both in terms of how long they're available and monetarily.
So the classification of an injury as catastrophic actually assists us in determining the benefits available to a claimant. So, Russell, what is the difference between non-catastrophic benefits versus catastrophic benefits?
There's a significant difference when it comes to the level of care that they're able to receive over their lifetime. For instance, a catastrophically impaired person will have access to their benefit for the rest of their life, whereas a non-catastrophically impaired person only has about 5 years to access 65,000 worth of benefits. In addition to the amount and the length of time, the other benefits available to a catastrophically injured person is a much more extensive level of personal support care. This includes an increased attendant care benefit amount compared to non-catastrophic. It's a doubling of the maximum from 3,000 to 6,000, as well as housekeeping and home maintenance benefit, both of which are critical for people who are suffering and unable to really maintain their personal care and their home. Other instances of benefits that are very crucial include things like devices and equipment, home modifications. It really is an increase in benefits available, especially when it comes to some longer term effects of these specific expenses. So a home modification, as well as other devices, would all come out of your medical and rehabilitation policy limits, which can exceed $1 million, depending on the policy you have.
And that cap on benefits, 5 years for non-catastrophic versus a lifetime of benefits for catastrophic, how can you assist a client in better understanding the challenges they would face if they were just rendered non-catastrophic and could never make it to the catastrophic level?
So I would say that clients in the non-catastrophic category face two main challenges. The first challenge is a lack of available funding. The non-catastrophic category is meant to assist people for short-term recovery for non-serious injuries. But what happens when a client has more serious injuries, has secondary complications, has a combination of physical, cognitive, and psychological issues? They may not have the funding available that they need to actually recover and to benefit from that treatment. The second challenge I would say is there's a 5-year limit on non-catastrophic funding. So some clients that have a delayed recovery or, as I said, secondary complications, they may need treatment and medical assistance beyond that 5-year period. So they're restricted to a very confined period of treatment.
And Ratumi, I think that's where optional benefits really come into play. Maybe you can help our viewers better understand what the benefits are of optional benefits.
Optional benefits are incredibly valuable, especially in cases where clients are non-catastrophic. They essentially elevate the medical and rehabilitation benefits that are available to catastrophic limits. Essentially, optional benefits serve as a safeguard and give you more access to care if your injuries turn out to be more severe or where your treatment needs to be prolonged. Without optional benefits, clients in non-catastrophic cases have limited financial means to continue pursuing their treatment if they require prolonged care or if their injuries take a turn for the worse. Optional coverage gives you financial security and peace of mind no matter how your injuries progress.
That's a great point. Harpreet, help us out with understanding what if somebody is initially classified as non-catastrophic and would like to become catastrophically impaired. Is that even possible?
It's definitely possible to be deemed catastrophic after you've initially been determined to be non-catastrophic from your insurance company, but it's not an easy process and it's not a short process either. It requires a lot of medical evidence, a lot of medical documentation that would support that your condition has now deteriorated to a point where you are catastrophically impaired. Another issue with how long the process sometimes takes is that a lot of clients can go for a prolonged period of time without access to the treatment that they need, which is why it's very important that you have a legal team with you in the beginning that will advocate for you to be classified correctly. And in the event that you are one of those clients that you feel that you might be borderline catastrophic or that you fear your condition may worsen, you want to ensure that your legal team is working from the beginning to build your case towards a direction that will ultimately get you deemed catastrophically impaired down the road.
That's excellent advice, Harpreet. Now, what about insurance companies? Do they challenge catastrophic determination?
Oh, absolutely. They always challenge a catastrophic impairment designation. The insurance company will generally require extensive medical documentation. They will almost always request that their assessors evaluate the injured person. And oftentimes they will argue that your own healthcare professionals' opinions are not valid and their experts' opinions are more accurate. Um, Of course, the reason they do this is because there's great financial implications to them if they accept that your injuries are catastrophic and you require much longer term benefits and a higher limit. This is why it's critical to have a skilled team of lawyers who is going to assist you with making sure that your case is properly presented to the insurance company, but also if the insurance company is not prepared to accept alternate findings, then you need a team of lawyers who's willing to take it all the way through to a lat catastrophic hearing. And you're probably looking for someone that has a proven track record of success. It's not easy to handle these hearings. It's quite complex. And there is a lot of evidence that needs to be presented, a lot of expert testimony. It does tend to get overwhelming for someone without the right experience.
That's a great point, Russell. To sum up, the difference between non-catastrophic and catastrophic injury determination can significantly affect your access to benefits and the support you will receive during your recovery. It's critical to get the classification right from the start, and if necessary, to pursue catastrophic determination later if your condition worsens. Any final thoughts from the group?
My key takeaway is that understanding the classification of your injuries and the associated benefits that you're entitled to is critical. And this is why seeking legal advice early on after your accident is very important so you can understand what benefits you're entitled to and what support you're actually missing.
I will add, always consider optional benefits to mitigate the risks of a prolonged recovery.
It's important to make sure that you have a lawyer that will take your case all the way to a lat hearing if it's necessary. It might be tempting to try to accept a settlement that the insurance company might offer you early on, but it's at that point you want to ask those important questions of your counsel and of your practitioners to determine if your case is one of those where you're going to deteriorate and need that support long term.
That's great advice. Thanks to all of you for your insights, and thank you to everyone who is watching. If you're dealing with a non-catastrophic or catastrophic injury and need guidance on what benefits you're entitled to, feel free to reach out to us at Foisy & Associates. We're here to help ensure you get the support you need for a full recovery. Until next time, take care.